haven't forgot about you. A couple minutes we'll be on.
Our intro music is provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
With a little imagination, you should be able to envision the torches and hear the screams that echoed through here. Those recorded screams in the Barrens day were real.
You're listening to Night Dreams Radio with Gary Anderson.
Well, that is me. I hope everybody's having a great week. One more day, and then you have the weekend to sit back, relax. At least a lot of you will. Some of you are stuck working. I feel sorry for you. Oh, wow. From my place to your place worldwide, you're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio with me, Gary Anderson. I'm going to bring the guest on all the way from the UK, and it's going to be an interesting show tonight. I hope everybody's going to enjoy it, and I think it's going to be fun. Hey, Gordon, are you there? Hey, Gordon. Hello? Looks like we might have lost him. Are you there, Gordon? Hang on. I figured out the problem. Another night where I forget to do something. I think that happens when you get to a certain age. Are you there, Gordon?
I am.
Okay, finally figured out I forgot to plug you in. I'm so sorry. It's been a bad week, hasn't it, for me? Well, did you get your Skype finally working?
No, but this is... No, I thought it was your Skype that wasn't working, no?
Well, my Skype wasn't working, but I thought one day when we were talking, you had a little problem with Skype, too.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yes, I did indeed. Yes, it was, yeah, it's all right. But anyway, we're on the landline, so that should be okay.
Okay, well, why don't you tell everybody in the audience who you are and what you do for a living, and then we can get into it.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Gordon Curl Smith, and I'm, you might have already discovered by the accent that I'm a Limey. I'm from Britain, from the UK. But I live actually now, and I have been living here now in the south of France since 1974, 75. And I'm not a spring chicken. I'm over 70. But in these days, I have been pulling together all the various things I've done in my life, and I have been writing for the last 3 or 4 years. having already worked in professionally writing, but in a professional area. And I have the latest book that I've been writing. Actually, it's 2 books. It's a set of 2 books, but it's a little bit special, and it's the subject of reincarnation. Now, of course, there's quite a lot of debate, a lot of people talking about reincarnation, and in particular, children remembering past lives and saying weird things like "You're my favorite mommy," and when I used to be an old man, I used to enjoy drinking tea, and things like this, and people think hello, and they try and move on. But it's a subject which, as I say, has fascinated me, and that I wanted to explore, and did so in this set of 2 books, which are called Another Egg, Another Life, and it's all about the story of a penguin soul reincarnating in 7 different penguin bodies in Antarctica. So that's what I think we're going to talk about today.
Okay. And how old were you when you started writing books there, Gordon?
Well, actually, I was always writing. I wrote poems and plays, especially radio plays in my 20s, because I love the medium. I absolutely adore radio, which is why it's such a pleasure to be with you here today.
Oh, yeah.
But radio is great, and in the UK, of course, we've got the wonderful BBC that does absolutely fabulous things, and So I used to do that. I actually worked, one of the first jobs I did, I worked in the West End Theatre, on a technical side, and operating the lighting, and I would very often write plays and poems and stuff during the moments when we didn't have any changes. Another another slightly unusual thing is that at that time in my 20s, I was also an artist, painter, and I was painting visionary paintings, sort of angels and sort of allegorical pictures. And I had my painter's studio, my artist studio, in the theatre where I was working, which is a bit of a first.
Oh, yeah. That made it handy.
What was really good. Yeah, absolutely. Because we used to work in the morning and do repairs and stuff, and in the evening we had the show. And I would go up to my studio and paint. And get this. So when I met, attractive young actresses backstage, I said to them, would you like to come upstairs and see my paintings? And of course I actually had some.
Oh, wow. I know what they were probably thinking. Would you come like to see my paintings?
Well,
yes.
Nothing was further from my mind,
Well, hey, actors and all that stuff, you hear, the actresses and all that stuff say, hey, so, that's what, well, I would think if I was a female and you say, hey, you want to come up and see my paintings? I would think, he has something else he wants to show me.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was that period. And then I carried on writing and actually I ended up, becoming a copywriter a freelance copywriter for a large number of top advertising agencies in Paris.
Oh wow!
So that was quite exciting, and I was also running a company that we did communications training, and we did English lessons, and so.
Oh.
So I've done a lot. I have done a lot of things. Like talking of reincarnation, sometimes as I say, I don't think I need to anymore because I did so many different lives in this one.
It sounds like you have, really. That's interesting. So, reincarnation of children. I kind of remember a story vaguely of a Brit kid that was like maybe 2-3 years old, and he started talking to his parents and stuff about, and maybe you know about it more than I do, about that he was a fighter pilot during World War II. He flew a Spitfire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he seemed to know, the squadron, and the people and the time frame. And it kind of went on to he got a little bit older, and then all of a sudden, he kind of grew out of it, and he didn't remember, But it was kind of interesting. I don't know if
Sure. These memories, they go at about 7. Well, when children get to about 7 or 8. But that particular case, that's James Leininger, and it's really extraordinary. It's one of the 3 classic cases that I tend to sort of put forward. The other 2 are the story of Anne Frank and a lady who came back called Barbara Carlin, and from a very early age she sort of kept talking about sort of weird things. Her parents were a bit perplexed, or even worried. They thought, what on earth is little Barbara talking about here? And she kept on going on about Amsterdam, about the house. Anyway, one day, I think she was probably just about 6 or so 6 or 7. They took her to Amsterdam, and they looked around the city, and that was fine. And then her dad said, "Well, I guess we better visit Anne Frank's house. I'll call a taxi." She said, "Oh, don't worry about that, Dad." She said, "It's only around the corner." He said, "What?" So then she took them by the hand and weaved through the intricate streets of Amsterdam, and they arrived at Anne Frank's house.
Oh, wow.
Hello. Anyway, and so she said, the steps in front of the house have gone. I said, "What?" So they asked the attendant there and said, "Were there sort of steps here at one point, He said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "Well, they got moved out they got dismantled, or they got taken away about 30 years ago." Okay. So they go into what was Anne Frank's room, and she looked around and she said, "Oh, Mummy, Daddy, look, there are all my pictures still on the wall." The walls were bare. So again, they spoke to the guy there and said, "Pictures on the wall, were there ever any?" He said, "Oh, yes," he said, "but he said they were up there until last week, but some of the visitors, they were sort of fingering them, and I think even 1 or 2 of them might have got stolen. So we took them down. We're going to put them into frames and put them back next week."
Oh, wow.
At that point, the parents thought, "Okay, she's Anne Frank."
Yeah.
And that's an amazing story. And if you look at her, if you look at photos of her and Anne, there are some significant similarities in their faces.
Now, is that common to have that?
Well, as graphic as that, no.